morning. Am I on this microphone? Okay. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Emerald Coast. I hope you'll notice during the service today that I have a lot of help. And they'll be coming up and doing some things. And thank you, Samuel, for ringing the chimes this morning. My name is Amy Weisberg, and I'm a member of this fellowship, and I'm your service leader this morning. Unitarian Universalism is inclusive. Everyone's presence enriches us. We were once strangers to each other before finding friends here. We treasure the warmth created and value newcomers. I'm saying after the service, we look forward to meeting you over refreshments. Is that true? Yes, that's true. And then hearing each other's views during one of our second hour options that are listed in your order of service. So now I have some announcements. The first announcement, in the interest of wonderful modern technology, is from Reverend Ruth. And she says, talking about herself, our minister, Reverend Ruth, is unable to be present today. She and her family are all sick with COVID. She helped plan the service, which she did. She sent me lots of stuff, and sent a brief recorded sermon. She hopes to be recovered and join us next Sunday. So I invite you to look at any announcements that are in your order of service and hope that you've read your e-news, because believe it or not, things are starting to really happen around here, and the e-news has a lot of announcements. So the first announcement is we are sad to announce the death of UUFEC member Lars Runar. A memorial service will be held next Saturday. Next Saturday at 11 here. Tonight at 6 o'clock, and this was in your e-news, we are proud to host the monthly meeting of PFLAG, our local LGBTQ community organization. All lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer folk and their family, friends, and allies are all welcome. And then people wanted me to announce all this other stuff. There will be this is in the e-news, so like you could go and read this, you know, if you get the e-news. So I'm just gonna say, if you're not getting the e-news, please let someone know. You can let me know and we'll get you on the list, because things are really starting to happen now and you want to be up to date on everything. So there will be service leader training, which means you get to do what I'm doing now, next Sunday, September the 18th, during second hour. So anybody who's interested in being a service leader should come to that. I also wanted to mention that choir practices are starting to happen again. They'll be in the second hour starting today. So anybody who likes to sing, notice I said likes to sing. Okay, you can come to choir practice. Okay. Also, Amanda handed out these, and some of them are white, but some of them are on yellow paper. It's a survey that you can link to off of your e-news. Or you can fill out the piece of paper and turn them in about Religious Service Committee looking for possible guest speakers when Ruth is not in the pulpit. So we'd like to hear from you. So I think that's all the announcements. There were just a lot of them today. So Claire wanted me to tell everybody that for our refreshments, in between first and second hour, that she has made some wonderful peanut butter cookies, and they're for everybody to take one. And now we'll start with our prelude. Shua is going to come up and light the chalice for us, and Claire is going to read the chalice lighting, right?
We gather as many drops, each winding our own path down life's surfaces and ruts. Here we pull together as a single body, flowing together for a time. Together we are a stream, at times even a river. For with our shared force we can travel toward oceans of meaning and seas of connection.
Our opening hymn this morning is number 387 in the Grey Hymnal, and it's a chant more than a song. It does have a little bit of melody, and Cecile is going to play it through once, and then we'll chant it together 4 times. And now it's time for all ages. And Sarah, our Director of Religious Exploration, is going to read us a story, and the children can come up to the front if they want.
There we go. Okay. So we found this book at the library this week. It's called We Are Water Protectors. And there's some symbolism in it. And I want you guys to shout out what you think it is when it comes up. You can help me turn the page? You can read some of that. All right. Water is the first medicine, Nokomis told me. So this is a Native American family. We come from water. It nourished us inside our mother's body, as it nourished us here on Mother Earth. Water is sacred, she said. You can see the picture here. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. The river's rhythm runs through my veins, runs through my people's veins.
My people talk of black snake that will destroy the land. Spoil the water, poison plants, and animals wreck everything in its path.
What do you guys think the snake is, based on the picture here? Looks like it could be. Yeah, it's a pipe. Yeah. When my people first spoke of the black snake, they foretold that it wouldn't come for many, many years. Now the black snake is here. Its venom burns the land, courses through the water, making it unfit to drink. What do you guys think that is? Oil, yeah, water pollution, right? Take courage. I must keep the black snake away from my village's water. I must rally my people together to stand for the water, to stand for the land, to stand as one against the black snake. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. It will not be easy. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves, the winged ones, the crawling ones.
The four-legged, the two-legged, the plants, the trees, the rivers, the lakes, the earth, we are all related.
Tears like waterfalls stream down, tracks down my face, tracks down my people's faces. Water has its own spirit, Nokomis told me. Water is alive. Water remembers our ancestors who came before us, she said. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. We are stewards of the earth. Our spirits have not been broken. We are water protectors. We stand. The black snake is in the fight for its life.
So today, in case you hadn't noticed, the children are staying with us the whole service and will be helping out. So now it's time to share any joys and concerns you might have. You're invited to briefly share events in your life and place a little rock in the water, and so that we can support and celebrate together. And children, you don't have to raise your hand, honey. If you want to come up and share something, you can come up and share. In religious community, we share our joys and our triumphs, our sorrows and our broken places. In this circle of care, we make space for the complexity of life, the myriad experiences that bless and break our hearts. The truth of human experience dictates that on any given day, we each come to the table with hearts in different places. There is room for all in this circle. May it be so today and always. We'll now take up the offering. Or if our helpers will, you two come up to the front. So now we'll hear a brief recorded sermon from Reverend Ruth.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so sorry I can't be with you in person today. As you see, I'm tucked up in bed at home because I am sick with the COVID virus. My husband, Bill, is sick too, and so are our sons, Liam and Angus. They're nearly grown up, but they kind of act like little boys when they are sick. I want to share a few thoughts today on the tradition of ingathering and water communion. And I want to say a special hello to our young people who have joined us today for this multi-generational service. You are all so special to us, and we are glad that you're here. There are expressions some of us use to talk about the faith community we grew up attending. We just add the word home to the word for that community, such as home synagogue or home temple or home church. My parents took me to Highlands United Methodist Church when I was a baby, and I kept attending until I was grown and moved away at age 22. Here's a picture of my home church on this decorative plate. Kind of pretty. And here's a picture of me when I was a baby. Wasn't I cute? I went to Sunday school, which is like RE, and I played on the playground. I participated in the annual Christmas pageant called the Boar's Head and Yule Log Festival for 18 straight years. I started out as a little sprite with jingle bells on my costume, and then I was a torchbearer, and then a page carrying a bowl of plastic fruit, and finally, I grew up enough to sing in the choir. I left my home church to become a minister and serve other Methodist churches, but I went back to Highlands for some important events. Bill Malone and I got married there in 1998. There we are. And later, when my father was old and sick and he finally died, we had his funeral there. So I call Highlands Methodist my home church, even though I haven't attended for a long time and I am no longer Methodist. I also have a home Unitarian Universalist church, the one in Birmingham, Alabama, which was the first UU church I attended. Bill and I raised our kids there and still have close ties to those folk. Here we call our church a fellowship, and it is a special kind of home. We don't live in the building all the time like we do in our houses and apartments, but there are a lot of things we do that are similar. We eat together, and as our board has decided, we will be eating more snacks, meals, more often very soon. We sit and talk and laugh and play. Sometimes we feel sad or angry. We may cry or raise our voices a bit. We try to teach each other important things. We try to treat each other kindly and respectfully. Sometimes we forget to do that. Sometimes we make mistakes. And because we are in this fellowship together, we try to forgive and start again. A fellowship home is a place where we can be ourselves and feel safe about expressing our ideas and asking our questions within the parameters of respectful conduct. And when we make mistakes, the other people in this home will help us fix it and make things right. When we get sick or have problems, our friends here will help us and care for us. Speaking of being sick, once when I was a young teenager at Highlands Methodist Church, I invited my new boyfriend, Chris, to come to the Sunday service. I was so proud to be sitting next to him in the third row, right in front of the pulpit. Unfortunately, as our minister began his sermon, I started to feel a bit queasy. Now, our minister liked to preach long sermons, and my stomach felt worse and worse. And suddenly I threw up all over the floor, the pew, and even on my boyfriend's shoe. Boy, Reverend Bob sure did wrap up that sermon quickly. I was so embarrassed. I just wanted to sink into the floor and disappear. Chris patted me on the back. My mother guided me out of the sanctuary to the restroom, while other church folk took care of the cleaning up. It was so horrible for me. Even remembering it now makes me upset. And it happened over 40 years ago. I told my parents I would never go back. I said it was too humiliating. I couldn't bear it. And I knew all the church people hated me and wouldn't want me back anyway. I felt certain Chris wouldn't ever want to talk to me again. It felt like the end of the world. Well, my parents wouldn't hear of it. Of course you will go back. This is our faith community, and we care about each other. These people will welcome you back with smiles and hugs. And my parents were right. I couldn't believe it when I walked back in the next Sunday. Everyone was so nice and kind. Some went out of their way to ask how I was feeling and say how glad they were to see me. And Chris called me every day and wanted to know when he could visit church again. That's what a church or a fellowship home is all about. It's a place where folk welcome you back from travels, illness, struggles, adventures, uncertainties, and unexplained absences. That's what ingathering is about. Coming home to our fellowship of the Emerald Coast, whether we have been members many years or just recently walked in the door. This is a good place to call home, our spiritual home, our community home. As we celebrate our homecoming and the water in its life-giving ubiquity reminds us of our connection to one another, remember that our youngest participants, our children, are growing in their sense of being at home in this faith community. May we all find a sense of home in our fellowship as we reunite through ingathering and water communion. I hope to see you all very soon. Amen. Shalom. Blessed be.
So Reverend Ruth talked about ingathering and water communion. Both of these are traditions in many Unitarian Universalist congregations, and we do these in the fall when, under more normal circumstances, school would end, and then people would go off on summer vacations and travel in the summer, and then come back for school starting and getting back to work and the start of the new church year. And so we meet here to be reunited for the start of the new program year. Adults all exchange greetings. Some of you we might not have seen all summer. This is what Ruth wrote. Our sanctuary vibrates with the energy of our children. And personally, there's a great deal of vibrating going on over there, and I love it. It is also a long tradition to celebrate the water communion, in which we share water that we have brought from our summer travels and activities. And as we watch the waters mingle, we remember how we came from different places to connect together. We offer greetings to those watching us on the internet, because I know we can't yet all be together. And we all remember how challenging it is to get a sense of feeling of togetherness remotely. If you are celebrating at home today, you could get 2 vessels, one filled with water and one empty, so you can participate with us in this ritual. We also remember what science teaches us. What we are able to observe with our senses is only a small part of the reality of our universe. There are all kinds of energy waves and particles which travel at extraordinary speeds, largely unobserved. Structures which seem solid are mostly made of space, filled with vibrating molecules. In other words, togetherness is a phenomenon of solely physical proximity is only part of the story. We are connected regardless of physical distance. Our thoughts and feelings can be transmitted by all manner of electronic and radio devices. Our connection to one another is only limited by our imaginations. Ingathering is a state of mind and heart, and today we will remind each other that nothing can really separate our fellowship. So we'll begin our water ceremony with these words from UU Minister Gary Kowalski. It's kind of long. So Claire's going to read this for you.
We draw from many wells, from oceans and rivers, from lakes and streams, from the muddy Mississippi to the roaring Rio Grande, from faraway places and from the ponds and puddles in our own backyards. Yet all are refreshing. Each rivulet is cleansing, each capable of nurturing and sustaining life. As people of faith, we draw inspiration from many sources, from earth and sky, from poetry and legend, from art and music, from conscience and the law written in our own hearts, each satisfying our deep thirst for meaning, and the yearning for justice that rolls down like waters in the soul. Jewish, Buddhist, humanist, pagan, theist, feminist, Native American, Christian, Hindu, Muslim, Taoist, and beliefs for which we have not created names. We bring our waters into communion to share with one another, just as we pool the many insights that inform our own singular experience. For a droplet of water alone has no color. It remains clear and translucent, almost invisible. But in combination, the many droplets together can create a brightly varied rainbow, unseen realities made real and present for all to witness.
Oxygen and hydrogen atoms have been coming together to make water molecules throughout the history of this planet. We drink them, we breathe them in, we absorb them through our skin. The same water we pour today has been part of many oceans and clouds, of many streams and rivers. The water connects us, the water gathers us. Like creatures around the mystical world watering hole, we gather to drink, to bathe, to splash, to pour. We are made mostly water, and the salt content of our blood is very like the salinity of the ocean. So now I'm going to switch microphones. So that is a child that understands canning jars. Do you realize how significant that is? So this water, Claire's going to pour it into the bowl to start our ceremony. When I left Montgomery to move down here 9 years ago, I brought a jar of water from the last water communion that I attended there. And that water contained water that a dear friend of mine had brought with her when they moved from Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, to Montgomery. And every year she would put that water back in and then take some of the new mixture out. So that water has water that has been part of communities in a lot of different places and keeps getting added to as we go. So that's how we'll start our water communion today. So now I'll invite, if you've brought water with you, to come up and mingle it with this water. And if you haven't brought water, but you have a story about, summer travel and would like to add some water to the mix, we have symbolic water here. You can put a little splash in, okay? So who's going to come up first? Okay, did you hear that? If you don't want to be on camera, wave and he'll turn you off.
From the Bay of Fundy, which is the water between the east coast of Maine and the west coast of Nova Scotia. At this dear place, thanks to reopening borders, I was able to return this year to one of our favorite places. And within sight of this lighthouse, I gathered some water from Pettis Cove of the Bay of Fundy. So a contribution from our neighbors to the north, sort of. I took the liberty of two little pieces of sea glass, which is what we collect on the beaches there all the time. So excuse my pollution, but they're clean. They are sterilized sea glass.
So this is symbolic water because we forgot to take our jar with us to Alaska, where we had our family reunion, all our kids and grandkids, and had a wonderful time cruising up the coast from Seattle up to Alaska in three different ports. So symbolically, this is from Alaska.
So we had Boise River water, but I think we left it at home, so that.
So we put some symbolic water in for her.
Well, Ed and I didn't travel this summer, but we live in Destin, one of the most beautiful places, I think, in the United States. And so symbolically water from the Gulf of Mexico.
So my father passed away recently, and I went to his funeral this week. A lot of bad memories because he was violent. But when I was 4 years old, my mom came here, and so for me, the waters of the Emerald Coast have always been healing, and particularly Lincoln Park, where I go to swim with my kids a lot. And so this is from Lincoln Park.
This water is from Humboldt County, California, and we got it at the Lady Bird Johnson Redwood Forest, and this is from the rain that was dripping off the leaves.
Nancy.
Here's some water from the Pacific Ocean.
We went to Kent Falls on our trip to Connecticut. In Brookfield, we went to Kent Falls, but I think we left the water at home.
For reference, that's where I grew up. I don't get to go home to see my family often, so I got to share that with the kids.
She has two.
We went to Beach Mountain, North Carolina for a family reunion, and there was a really nice creek next to their great-grandparents' house there that we really intended to get water from and totally forgot. But on the way home, we stopped in Helen, Georgia, and there was a really cool little fountain, and Helen, Georgia is made to kind of like a little German town. And as a cute little fountain, we got water from that fountain instead of the creek that I intended to get it from. And then we also went to a rainbow gathering in Colorado. There's a little flower in there that we had picked from a field. Let's not get in there to tell them the difference. And went to the rainbow gathering, and there was also another really nice creek that I intended to get water from. And we were about to leave. I was like, oh no, I didn't get water from that creek. But I was holding a bottle of drinking water. It was actually more significant to me when I think about it. It was spring water that the rainbow gathering had taken the time and the energy to filter mountain spring water for everyone to drink. And so we had drinking water all the time. It was great. And I had poured a little bit of that water into our container.
Turkey Creek. I've taken my kids there their whole life, swimming, floating, and I've walked with probably every member of my family at Turkey Creek and my friends, so it's just a special place for us.
Oda and I went to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for graduation, and I took this and I forgot to get water. But then I thought, well, we're going to Atlanta. So we went to Atlanta, where they have water which they have stolen from the state of Florida, which is why we don't have Apalachicola oysters. And I forgot to get water also. So this is extremely important. This is rainwater from yesterday.
Ned and I don't get out a whole lot these days, but we do have a pool which is life-saving to us. So I brought some pool water.
Add a little chlorine.
I would like to do this in memory of Lars Runar. We're having a ceremony here Saturday at 11 to wish him goodbye. So what did I do?
I put some water. Yes, I did.
First rate.
One more symbolic water here. This is for the waters of Spokane Valley, where we moved from at the start of the summer.
So I know Claire already added our symbolic water, but just for a little reference, we had made a trip home to Idaho this summer. It was the first time that I had been home in 3 years as of this summer. As a matter of fact, 3 years ago today, I left my home, Idaho, where I was visiting family, to return to my deployment. I had gone home for my grandmother's passing. So it was the first time we'd been home in 3 years, and we made a tour of all the waters. We went to the Boise River. We went to...
It was beautiful, by the way.
Yeah. We went to the Boise River. We went up to Payette, was it the Payette River?
No,
Cascade Lake.
Yeah, I think maybe
A number of waters.
lots of
Silver Creek Plunge, where we had gone camping since I was a little kid. And we got some water from some of those places, but not all of them, and I forgot it today. So.
I think just Boise River, but still.
I didn't bring any water, but the first water that came to mind when I think about water that I hold dear is Hawk Run, a little creek in Iowa not far from where I grew up. So the water I share is from Hawk Run.
Okay, does anybody have anything else to share? So, is somebody coming?
I'm not quite sure of the order. I hope I'm not out of order and sequence of the line, but I just wanted to share the importance of water, all water, and even though we've been a little overwhelmed with all the rain we have been having this summer so far, I'm grateful for the water and for all the greenery that it does create. I regret the flooding that it creates in other parts of the country, though, and I wish for water out west for the vast western states that are so dry right now, and the land is parched, and all the wildfires. I wish for them water to renew the beauty of the West, and regret the suffering that has caused. But I'm thankful that we have had an abundant amount of water, but I wish we could share it with other parts, the western tier of the country. Thank you.
So the very last, and I think somebody put some in, but I didn't go anywhere. But this is rainwater from yesterday. So
Lots more rainwater.
we are gathered in once more by the pouring of the water. Let us remember our connection and bless it and each other. By gathering together and sharing in this way, we create again this Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Emerald Coast. The water sings of our togetherness in mind, heart, and spirit. May it be so now and always. Our final hymn is number 354 in the Grey Hymnal. We laugh, we cry. And I'll remind you, then we'll extinguish the chalice and then remain seated for the postlude. So if you'll all join in singing number 354, we laugh, we cry. extinguish the chalice? Was Julian going to do that? And Claire is going to read the little reading.
It starts with a drop, then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water, bubbling toward its destination, and finally the wide, endless sea. All rivers run to the sea. Today you brought water, poured it into a common bowl. Though our experiences have differed, these waters mingle, signifying our common humanity. Today you came and shared in this sacred community. May you depart this sacred space, hearts filled with hope for new beginnings, a fresh start. Go forth, but return to this community, where rivers of tears may be shed, where dry souls are watered, where your joy bubbles, where your life cup overflows, where deep in your spirit have you found in this place a home. All rivers run to the sea.
So now Samuel is going to come up and sound our final chime. One more time. Thank you.